All right, so we had a huge election in Kentucky yesterday, and this election that we had in the state Senate in District 37 might be the biggest Democratic swing that we've seen of any special election in 2025. And the fact that the Democrats were expected to win this seat quite handily, but then even were able to add on top of that a 26.6% swing, that is devastating to the Republicans. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to delve into this race because this is impressive. I think prior to this, of the special elections that we've had, that the biggest swing was in Oklahoma in a state house seat in Tulsa, which had about a 23.3% swing or something like that. So this is 3% more. And again, like I said, the closer that you get to a district being 0 to 100%, which this wasn't, it was like 60-40 before, the swings usually become smaller and smaller. So the Democrats getting 26.6% here is extremely impressive. So we're going to go ahead and delve into this, look at the district, and see what we can glean from this, because I think this is a very interesting district to look at. Now, before we get into it, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like the video. Even if you're one of my people who watch all the time, you might forget to like it. Helps in the algorithm. So just press the like button right now as you're watching. And on top of that, I am going to be putting more stuff on my Substack. So I have the Substack link in the description, and I am putting stuff up there now like a few times a week, but I am going to be doing data analysis, and I'm also going to be doing House and Senate and State House and Senate rankings for many of the states out there. I'm going to be doing an article about Florida on Monday and talking about the state house and the state Senate there and breaking down the districts. But that's only for my paid members. It's only $6 a month, but go ahead and check that out. And also Blue Sky, you have the link below. Now, as I showed you here, we have the election results in Kentucky with the Democratic candidate getting 72.4% of the vote to the Republican 25%. There was a Libertarian there, took like 2 points in the Lexington Herald Leader. Louisville Union Leader wins special election for Kentucky Senate seat. Now, again, the Democrats were expected to win this, but the last time it was around the 60-40 seats. So this is a major win. And it's also a union win as well. So when we think of Kentucky, we think of, oh, if you're going to have somebody like a Democrat, you need to have someone like Andy Beshear or something like that, just this middle of the road moderate that has his hair combed nicely and everything like that. This guy is just a tough, union leader. And to me, this is how you're going to start winning states like Kentucky again, is you need to get back to the working class voters and not be this middle him-haw type of person, but a fighter. Now, let's go ahead and look at the district that we have here on Day's redistricting. So you can already see that it is a pretty blue district, and we'll dig into it at the precinct level in a second here, but you can see it's pretty blue. And if we go over to the chart that we have over here, you can see typically, if we look at the averages of elections previously, typically this district goes 56.7 or 56.8% for the Democrats. Okay. So the fact that the Democrat got 72.4% is a huge win. And usually the Republican gets 41.38%. They went all the way down to 25. So this is a blue district, but it isn't like an overwhelmingly blue district. If you're the Republicans and you have a huge wave Republican year, this might be one of those, maybe not low-hanging fruit, but kind of higher-hanging fruits that if your arms are long enough, you can go ahead and kind of grab that. That's what we have here. Now let's go ahead and go over to the precinct map here in the New York Times. Now, of course, they don't have the state Senate district, but it's essentially right here. The most important part of this is this Shively area here where you see it dark blue. That is not part of the state Senate district. That's part of another state Senate district. So what we're seeing here is a lot of lighter blue and red in this area. Now, this is usually the most Democratic part of the district up here in what's called Jacob's Addition here. So up in this just northeast of the airport. And if any of you know the 1974 super tornado outbreak that happened in the South and happened in Louisville as well, these are some of the neighborhoods where the tornadoes just ripped apart. Brandenburg was one way down here, but it did go by the airport and other places. So if this area sounds familiar to you and some of the names, you probably have watched about the 1974 super outbreak in Louisville. So this area is much more Democratic, and these are where your big Democratic precincts are. So we're talking about 64%, 68%, 69%, and so on. But that isn't a huge, that's just this little chunk right here of the district, right? So that's just kind of right here. As soon as we start getting a little bit lower, we get into some low 60s and high 50s. So we have 58, 57, 61, and so on. We have nothing around 72. And remember, the candidate got 72% of the votes district wide. So Gary Clemens got 72% district wide. We're not even seeing precincts in the presidential election that hit 72.4. So the fact that district wide he got that much, and we don't even see like a single precinct that had that high of a number. I have not even seen a single precinct yet. Here we go. 74%. I'm pretty sure this is in the district. That's about the only one that we see going higher than what he got district-wide yesterday, which is impressive. Then we get down here into Kenwood, Hunter's Trace, and Parkwood. Becomes a little bit 50-50 area. So here we got Kamala Harris, 50%. We got, let's go into Parkwood here. We got 55% Donald Trump, 50% Donald Trump, 51% Donald Trump, 59% Donald Trump, and so on. So this was a Democratic leaning district, as we saw with Dave's redistricting. There's no doubt about that. But it wasn't a 72.4% district. And if we go over back to Dave's redistricting, and I think this is kind of the important thing to talk about in this one, it is a district that is 64.42% white and only 35.58% majority, with most of that being African Americans, right? So we can say that African Americans will mostly overwhelmingly vote Democratic, but you have a lot of white voters here as well voting Democratic. And this is kind of the middle, like true middle income, maybe even lower income, working class white voters that Trump has been able to capture so much that in this part of the country, they're still clinging on a little bit to the Democratic Party. And I just wanted to go ahead and show you, if we look at Google Street View here, just the kind of houses that we see. They're not large houses here. They're quite small. But you can see nicely manicured lawns and so on. You don't see huge mansions. You don't see the rich liberals like you see in other places. But you also don't see a rundown area. And to me, like when I was doing the research for this video and looking at the houses that we have here and so on, it's like these are the kind of voters that if we're Democrats nationwide, we have to start winning. These are the kind of voters. So we're not talking about high-income liberals. We're talking about the middle and lower middle income white voters in, if we want to call Kentucky the South, I'll let you determine if you want to call Kentucky the South or not. These are the kind of voters that if you go over the Ohio River into Indiana, we're just losing left and right. So the Democrats are doing something strong here. And it could be the fact that you have a union leader there. They're doing something strong there to keep those voters. So overall, I mean, to me, this is an amazing win. And as I mentioned, this was a 26.6% swing. We have not seen in the special elections that type of swing. Now, I'm not including the Virginia and the New Jersey legislative races because those were not special elections. Those were scheduled elections. But yeah, I mean, this was a huge victory. And again, as I mentioned, where is the Republican win? We just do not see it. And if they are losing, having these huge swings in places that would for all intents and purposes, kind of be considered their voters. That's not good. Now, we'll go ahead and look at the precinct results. And the other caveat we always want to remember is that this is a special election. This is not a regularly scheduled election. This is a special election. So we have to put that, take that into account. So we'll see. It'll stay a Democratic district. So Gary Clemens will, when the next elections come, he will probably be reelected and be reelected easily. We'll just see how high that reelection is. If he's around 60, then we've kind of corrected back to how things are normally. But if it stays around that 70%, oh man, we're in good shape. All right, wanted to talk about that. Please go over to my Substack, subscribe. I'm going to be doing the Florida numbers out Monday, and then I'm going to be adding numbers and data and analytics for my paid subscribers throughout the year. Up until the next election day. So thank you all very much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.